Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to be diving into Polygon and specifically the price action of Matic. As we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not subscribe, tap the bell and select all notifications. In doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. With this said, done and out of the way, let's dive down into the desktop and talk about what's going on here with Matic. We're going to kick things off with this weekly chart, guys, really talking about what's gone on so far. As we can see, there were some interesting low points during March of 2020, some fantastic opportunities to pick up Matic when it was less than half a cent. So some fantastic opportunities. Obviously, there was a lot of sideways trading, and I think Chris was really vocal about this one during our live streams in the initial stages of the channel. He really liked Matic. He thought it has serious potential, and he wasn't wrong. We've actually seen this thing rise up 42,000% in 434 days, from those lows of March 2020 all the way through to the highs of May 2021. This has definitely been one of the best performers within our portfolio. From here, we did actually pull back in line with the rest of the market, and we saw a nice healthy correction wave. We then started to see nice push back to the upside, but we're still not performing as well as Matic can do. We do see, however, another 600% left in this bull run, taking Matic all the way up to $9.43. We can take a look at the Stochastic RSI, and we're about halfway through with a little bit of volatility in the middle here. Again, we are looking to track this all the way up into the overbought, but this is a project that only tends to go once Ethereum has gone, and you start seeing a lot of those gas fees reach those unmanageable levels. So bear yourself, guys, this is going to absolutely fly later on in the year. And we can obviously see that during the lows, we were oversold down here in this low area of the Stochastic. We can see that we were overbought when we were peaking this up. We can see it back down to the oversold area during this area of the chart, and of course overbought when we had this run to the upside, back to the oversold area during our correction, and we're working our way back up into the overbought as we look to go after that $9 range. So overall, everything on this weekly chart is very much as you would expect it. Lots of sideways trading before we go parabolic. Again, we're just starting to go sideways here, and I imagine that this is going to continue until we kind of see Ethereum reach some interesting levels where Matic then becomes absolutely critical. I think this is going to be quite a lot quicker, in fact, than what we'd seen previously, because of the price of Ethereum today is obviously still significantly higher than it was back here. So I do think Polygon's going to start seeing a lot more integrations and a lot more use case for its particular protocol. So overall, everything's lining up nicely towards that level, and I do think we are likely to see that 600% before the year's end. So let's dive down into our daily view on this brief technical analysis. Here we can actually take a look at what's going on and how we actually get to that $9 range. In order to see that, we take a look at the current performance. We take a look at how high things did actually reach, was about that $2.70 before we went down to those lower areas. This actually seemed to bottom out at around the, let me just get that right for you, 61.9 cent. Okay, so we take in that high and we take in that low into consideration on the Fibonacci. That then gives us some interesting areas that we want to focus in on. We have the 1.618 coming in at $3.98. The 2.618 is $6.06. We have the 3.618 at $8.15, and then of course that full 4.236 comes in at 9.43. Okay, so overall some good motion to the upside to be had, 600%, and there's nothing wrong with those. I do think they are likely to come in my opinion, because it is based on current performance. When we start actually taking a look, we were tracking nicely here before Bitcoin pulled us back down, and we are still moving up, i.e. we are setting these higher lows on that journey to the upside. We'll have a look at the hourly in a moment to see exactly what is going on. The other thing that's really glaringly obvious is there is a bit of a downward trend when it comes to our RSI, our stochastic RSI at that. We can see that we are going to be looking to push up on our daily here, and we want to see eventually us actually get kind of tighter and tighter into the wedge down here, where we'll end up potentially just actually getting wedged until we have that huge break at the end there. Ultimately, this is an interesting pattern. I don't think it means terribly too much, but it's interesting to see that momentum drop over time. So we're going to be mindful of that. But overall, I think this is just going to indicate us trading sideways for a bit longer before we absolutely do have that run to the upside in a really strong way. Overall, there were some low areas down here around that $1.10. Again, finding the bounce on the 236, you can see that quite clearly there. And again, the resistance points are 50% and of course the 382. So right now we are looking to try to push above the 382, i.e. a candle above $1.41. And let's dive down into our hourly. This is where we'll start taking a look at what's been going on most recently. There was this triangular wedge that was forming. We obviously got the break to the upside there, finding a resistance at $1.50. $1.50 before getting pulled back down. And again, we've just been tracking down a little bit here as well. Now, what I am going to do is just quickly remove that line. And I will actually expand this one up. We're going to assume that there's a couple of anomalies here around these areas, but otherwise we could actually just extend this one out and see that trading out sideways a little bit longer, which I do think is probably the better solution, I think, to the problem. So let me just throw that over there. Right, so I think this is probably a good way to kind of look at it. Let me actually remove this one and these old trends as well. And what I will do is actually just draw that onto there. So we have some interesting kind of triangular wedges in here. Now, for us personally, what we want to be focusing in on, I think, is looking at the support level of $1.39. So that's this line just here. You can see there's a resistance before, a resistance here. We briefly broke up against here and found the resistance of $1.50 before pulling back in, retesting this area and getting rejected. Now, we take a look at our hourly stochastic. We are looking to pull down. I don't think we really have enough momentum to continue the push to the upside. We take a look at where we have been previously, and this is a good, interesting area to be. Now, we might temporarily push up before falling back, but I think we're likely to retest this lower area here really soon. So again, I'm just mindful that we might end up with a bit of a scenario where we do see a pullback here, but nothing too major, just standard volatility that you would find on an hourly chart like this. I think for now, we are likely to trade between these two areas, this being the $1.28 and $1.39, and before we get wedged into this area here where you'll either get the break to the upside invalidating our downward trend, or we get the break to the downside where we actually invalidate our upward trend. Overall, I think the downward trend is the stronger one right now, so our upward trend is the weakest, so we'll ideally want to see that move that way to invalidate this trend, but for now, obviously just focus in on those support and resistance lines. They're going to be our best friends in this scenario. Now, if our upward trend does hold, then there is actually a triangular wedge that's forming here, i.e. we're just going to continuously wedge ourselves into this gap before breaking to the upside there. So I'll be mindful over what happens next over the next kind of day to see whether we move to the upside here or move to the downside overall. But everything is to play for on the sort of smaller time frames, right? This is the way the volatility is. This is the kind of stuff that isn't going to last forever. I do think that actually if we are ever in doubt, we zoom out and we pay attention to what is going on with our weekly and our daily charts. These are the ones that show us the majority of the moves and in a lot more detail. Overall, I'm pretty confident that what we're actually going to see is a sideways trade before we actually have this big push to the upside. So right now, the sideways trading that we are seeing, that volatility in the smaller timeframes, I think is likely to last a little bit longer before we absolutely do see that big, massive parabolic run towards the end of the bull run. And I think it's going to be taking us to about that $9 range for Matic here. So guys, I'm going to leave that there. Hopefully you have found this brief update on Matic useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.